Hello everybody, I'm April May Walston, and today I'm going to show you how I painted this rose rock. So stay tuned. So I've started off, I've already drawn in my rose. I've done a bunch of these over the course of my career, so I know how to draw the flower. If you don't, you can just trace one off of the internet. I do have a video that I'll link down in the description below showing how to transfer an image from your monitor to your rock. So I'm going to outline the design in black, and this is just so that I don't lose the design when I paint over it. And I am using a Liquitex opaque black, and it's an airbrush paint. I don't know where I disappeared off to. I'm doing just finishing up the leaves. This is a rock that I made with cement using a silicone mold that I got off of Amazon. So now that everything is trapped with black, I am going in with red, and I'm being really careful here, but eventually I just start painting over the whole rock because the red is transparent enough to where I can just paint over and I'll still see the lines. But if it wasn't the case, you would need to paint it this way. See, now I'm just painting over the whole thing because I realize that I'm not going to cover over the black. And I'm really kind of doing this in a sloppy manner. It doesn't really matter. And I'm using Liquitex Basics. Let's see, I can find out. The color is cadmium red deep hue. So now I'm cleaning up my lines with just some titanium white. If I would have been more careful, I wouldn't have needed to do this step. So now I'm using a Hooker's Green. The Hooker's Green has got a little more yellow to it, so it's kind of a warmer green, and it's good for foliage. And it's kind of transparent too, so it'll take a couple of coats to get it dark enough. So now I'm taking some of my red and a little bit of ivory black to deepen the red a little bit. Ivory black is more translucent, and it's a good color for darkening a color as opposed to Mars black. I like ivory black when I'm going to use it for shading. So now I'm going in and just shading in where the shadows are. And I am going to slow this down here in a minute so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. So I just misted my palette with water. I use a very fine mister, and I'll mist the paints on my palette so that they don't dry up as fast. So now I'm slowed it down to real time, and I'm taking the dark red mixture and I'm putting it on the leaf in the area that I want shaded. I'm just painting it on here, and I'm using kind of what they call a scrumbling pattern, and that's just kind of rubbing the paint into it in circular motions. Now I've rinsed off my brush, and then I've dried it off as well as I could so that I have a slightly damp brush with no pigment on it at all. And now I'm going in and I'm scrumbling over the edge of the paint, and that is going to soften it and give you that gradient look to the shadow instead of having a harsh line. So now we're speeding it back up. And this is why it's really good to have a reference photo when you're painting, so that you know where your shadows need to be, instead of doing it all by, you know, where you think it should be. It's always really good to have a reference photo. I didn't use a reference photo for this one, but like I said, I've painted these a lot over the years, and so you do get to a point where you can do it from memory, but a reference photo is definitely a good way to go. So I've mixed up kind of a pink color here, and I'm going to try that. And I don't normally like pink on a red flower, but I thought I would try it just to see, and no, I didn't like it. So what I'm doing is what I normally do, and that is I go with an orange for my highlights. And you could use straight orange out of the tube. I think I mixed red and yellow together to get this orange. But I just feel like it makes the flower kind of glow in areas. I just like the way it looks better as opposed to going with a pink. And red's one of the few colors that when you add white to it, it literally changes the color of the pigment. You know, instead of just softening the red a little bit, it turns it to pink. So, and personal preference, I just don't like that. So I'm doing the exact same thing I did with the shadow, where I'm kind of putting the color on and then scrumbling it on to soften the edges with a dry damp brush. Dry damp, that doesn't really make sense, but it's a damp brush, but it's about as dry of a damp brush as you can get, if that makes any sense. So now I'm lightening the color with like a coral. I've made kind of a coral color, and I'm lightening the flower, but I'm going to go over that with yellow here in a minute, like a yellow orange. Now I'm just deepening some of the shadows. I darkened up my shadow color. I'm going in and, you know, just deepening it. In order to have good contrast, you've got to go dark where your darks belong. Otherwise your painting looks flat, so you need to, don't be afraid to go dark. See, now I'm taking kind of what looks like a yellow orange, and I'm going over where I had gone over it with the coral, and that was just to lighten it. I needed something with a white base to help lighten the edges of the flower and where I wanted some highlights. So now I'm taking some of the black, just straight black, and really deepening up some of those shadow areas. See, I work in layers and I build up to the darks so that I don't go too dark too fast, but I know that I'm gonna need areas that are dark. But I do it gradually. Now I'm working on the leaves. I'm adding just straight, looks like straight yellow, yellow cadmium to some of the edges. And now I'm going to retrap all of the petals in black. It's a personal preference. I like to trap these in black. It makes it look less realistic, but I like the way it looks. So you don't have to do this step if you want it to look more realistic. So now I'm taking kind of a sky blue color, and I'm going to paint all the way around it in a sky blue, which I think really looks pretty against the red. Now this is a craft paint that I had that's like from Testers, and it does not have a light fast reading, which means that color is not going to stand up very long against UV rays. Even if I seal the rock, which I do, that color won't last as long. That'll fade before the rest of the colors will, because the rest of the colors are Liquitex Basics, which do have a really good light fast rating. And light fast just tells you how fast your colors are going to fade. And all paints, no matter what kind of sealant you put on it, all of them are going to fade. But are they going to fade in 100 years, or are they going to fade in a month? That's kind of what your light fast ratings are going to tell you. And I'm a little off camera here, but there we go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and also to share this video with anybody you think could benefit from it. And if you have a tutorial you'd like to see me do, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.